Greetings to all Africans around the world. My name is Akosua Prempeh, and I am broadcasting from the United States of Africa. Welcome to the United States of Africa TV. In today's powerful segment, we bring you part 2 of an important discussion on the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, as it enters year 2 of its strategic roadmap. Across Africa and throughout the diaspora, many are asking serious questions. How can the AES strengthen its protection against external pressures and internal destabilization? What does deeper regional cooperation truly mean? Is the path towards sovereignty, security, and economic independence becoming clearer? And what lessons should Africa learn from rising global tensions and shifting geopolitical alliances? In this video, you will hear strong analysis, viewer contributions, and critical reflections on the future of the AES, African unity, security collaboration, and the larger fight for sovereignty across the continent. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Share it to your WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, and all social media platforms so we can connect Africans everywhere and strengthen unity across our continent. Now, let's go straight into the discussion.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the second part of New World Forum. Today we are talking about the roadmap for the Alliance of Sahel States, the Year 2 roadmap. In the studio, Didier Nouridine Alou and Sogoyuke Gwewe, thank you for staying with us to comment on the viewer contributions being sent in. I'll start with Italy right away with Abalo from Milan. Hello to the studio. Hello, Gilles and everyone. We are at a difficult turning point. The AES must have Year 2 strategies to protect itself. A few days ago, it was Venezuela. Today, it's Iran. My question is, why must we live in fear? Total support for the AES. Good morning, my friend. So Didier Alou is asking the AES to protect itself from these external aggressions. Is that possible? How can the AES further strengthen its security protection measures in order to provide even greater safety?
Strengthening protection in the AES requires increased and ongoing vigilance, intelligence sharing, and further strengthening of controls within the region's external borders, but also through the active cooperation of the population.
No, but when he talks about protection, it's in relation to the events in Venezuela and Iran. You don't protect yourself from those aggressions by monitoring borders, do you?
No. Nothing can block the path of people who are determined. That needs to be said. Now, within the systems, we must work to eliminate moles. Because what happened in Venezuela, we understood later that it was because there were traitors inside Maduro's system. And that is the fundamental challenge for the survival of the powers in place as well. Because partnerships work well, the population is aware. But with moles, you're never permanently safe, so you must always be vigilant.
Excellent.
No, I believe that the AES countries are fully aware of all the possible and impossible threats that may await them. So they sign, in addition to what they do themselves, they sign defense agreements, notably with Russia. So if Russia is there, if the other countries are there, it's hard to attack, because the mistake of those who might attack the Sahel countries is that they have their proxies nearby. So you attack me, I attack you. Have you seen what Iran is doing? How they distribute bombs in all the Gulf countries? It's like that. When you attack, know that your friends are nearby and they will be victims.
Hello to the panel. Our respects to your TV station for your struggle. Greetings to the Baobab, the ambassador, to you, Gilles, and to Didier Alou. I am very impressed by the traditional outfits on the set. In any case, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mine, it's a gift from a fellow citizen of the AES in Ouagadougou. Thank you. I greet him, by the way, Felipe. Thank you.
We have different approaches in the field of development for the 3 countries. We call on the leaders of the countries to replicate the good examples from both sides. the example of what is happening in Burkina Faso, which must be institutionalized in other countries. Thank you for everything you do for Africa.
Thank you.
Can't the Sahel authorities establish a partnership with your channel, because there is no shame in replicating what is good in others, notably New World TV? This is Muhammad Mbaraku from Bamako, Mali. Excellency.
Yes, but why not? A good partnership with the Sahel countries would be welcome with the entire New World network. So New World is not a closed sect, it's an open television station. It is as open as our opinions are here. So it's actually a good idea, and let's be hopeful that it will be successful with the Sahel officials.
Didier?
Yes, I agree. It's necessary. We must strengthen the work already being done internally and create partnerships. To be more thoroughly in depth, we need to put in all the necessary means in order to continue deepening this awareness-raising work that we do at New World.
In any case, contacts are underway. We only ask for the openness of the AES authorities to finalize these various collaborations. Moreover, with Mali, which has agreed to receive the New World package, the very first African country to agree to receive New World. That's why we have established a branch regarding the distribution of the packages. Contacts are also advanced in other countries. We dare to believe that these things will materialize in the months, days, or years to come. He also mentioned the Faso-Mebo experience. He thinks other countries should use these experiences and replicate them at home, do benchmarking. I think he is absolutely right.
Yes, absolutely. It's important. It contributes to local consumption. So, and I know that in Niger and even in Mali, there are these traditional clothes and even these cultural and traditional identities. But I think we need to go deeper. This not just in the Sahel, but in all African countries that need it.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Papa Sogoyu Koko Kegewe, Didier Nouridine, Alowu, well-dressed, as well as the journalist Gilles Mauna Bokor, also traditionally dressed. In AES style, it's from Burkina, hand-woven, I think, very well made. The AES is indeed moving forward. Too bad for the ghost organizations. Follow my gaze. Well, I don't actually see your gaze. We are only waiting for the Federation, period. This is Mr. Koto Ogu Beninis from Bouaké in Ivory Coast. A message from Burkina. Good morning.
Indeed, it's a question that comes up often, the Federation of States. For now, it's the three states are in a confederal spirit. To move toward a federation, it takes time. We must let the countries first experience what they are doing. And the federation will establish itself quite naturally.
Good morning to the panel. Delighted to see you as every Sunday and to congratulate you on your African outfits instead of jackets, among other things. In my opinion, the currency will be for this year, unless there's a major incident that we don't want. Have a good show. This is Zerbo from Bobo Dioulasso. He is very optimistic about the currency.
Yes, the currency, it will come. You know, it's like the black albino, you know, we're still looking for it. So everything that is promised will come. But we don't want to risk giving deadlines, that's all.
Arthur Oedraugo from Hamburg, Germany. Good morning, the best West African panel. My greetings go directly to the best journalist and moderator, Gilles Boko. Thank you. To brother Didier Nouridine, without forgetting the Baobab. Papa Sogoyu, but that Baobab, everyone calls him Baobab, will end up giving him the nickname Baobab.
Yes, you know, every good Kabir has a Baobab at home. So it's not unearned. It's not unearned.
That's a fetish Baobab?
Huh? But of course.
The Baobab of Kenau.
No, you have to leave those Kenau stories alone. I'm talking about the Baobab. The Baobab, which is often a fetish, and at least 80% of Kabir have it, you know.
So, and notably Sogoyu Kegwewe.
I think we should rather talk about it and talk about it with pride.
Once again, the Conscious African Youth says a big thank you for your media commitment and the awakening of consciousness for an Africa, another Africa. Thanks also to the President of the Council of Togo for his support to the AES countries and of course the opportunity given to New World. and I sincerely hope to see Togo officially join the Confederation for year 2 of the AES roadmap. I think it is on a very good path in view of the achievements being consolidated. And this year will be decisive on all levels. Encouragement to our leaders, to the resilient peoples of the AES, but also to all African peoples who refuse domination, imperialism, and neo-colonialism. Good Sunday, beautiful Sunday, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Arthur Uedrogo from Hamburg. Hello, Gilles, the best presenter we admire. Thank you for the compliment. Hello to the 2 great panelists who enlighten us by analyzing every Sunday current events from around the world, and particularly the AES. God bless New World TV, the best channel in the sub-region. It's Lair from Agolbasito. Have a good show and a good Sunday to you. I mean, you receive a lot of praise for New World. In
any case, we truly thank them.
Thank you, yes. Hello, everyone. On the set, I would like to know on what principle Western currency is more valued than the currency used in Africa. Well, for that, we'll have to invite an economist.
It's not only Western currency that is more valued, even Western religion is more valued. So you understand, right? That is to say that someone has dominated you from the start, and everything they have ends up dominating you. Currency dominates you, technology dominates you, beliefs dominate you. You don't even have a choice. You are in a straitjacket. And some Africans have the courage to say, listen, let's try to get out of the straitjacket anyway. And other Africans say, no, we must stay in the straitjacket. We have our happiness there. My friend, if you have happiness in the straitjacket, stay alone. Don't try to drag others into it.
And that's the whole problem of colonialism and the colonized. Hardened, as I usually say. Because basically, many people think that what we are experiencing, or Africa's level of development, people think that all of this is accidental. They don't know that it's something that was well orchestrated from the start. People don't understand that the CFA franc, the French language, the curriculum taught in schools,
religion.
People don't understand that all of this is set up.
It's a
whole that is orchestrated to keep Africans in their current state. And when we tell people that we must get out of this, that we must decolonize minds, they don't always understand what we're talking about.
Hello, dear moderator, Gilles Mawena Boko, Richard Asinan Tagba from Lomejole. Fraternal greetings to our valiant Pan-African analysts, the unavoidable big brother Kegewe Sogoyo, Mr. Didier Aluhu. Yes, you are mistaken about the name. It's not Alovo, it's Aluhu. A-L-O-H-O-U.
Exactly.
A shout out to big brother Louis Kabaki, whom I saw yesterday. Thank you. My question is this. Faced with the expansion of terrorism in Africa, can the AES really win alone? Or should we consider broader security coordination among all African states beyond current political differences? Didier Aluhu.
Yes, but that's what would have been better. That's what would have been desirable if all our countries in Africa were in the same mindset and the same dynamic as the countries of the AES. However, it turns out that until now, some take pleasure in prioritizing their relations with the instigators of terrorism rather than standing alongside their African brothers to effectively fight against the terrorism that was sent to us by precisely the imperialists. And even today, if you go, I won't name any countries, but you'll see that one country in particular, not far from Niger, continues to record terrorist attacks in its north. Well, and it's becoming a recurring thing. For me, having lived in the Sahel for a long time, it's déjà vu for me. That is to say, as I said earlier, what we've noticed when the French or Westerners or NATO forces come to settle in your country under the pretext of helping you fight terrorism, the result, we've seen it in Mali, we've seen it in Burkina, we've seen it in Niger, is that terrorism spreads even more. So these are people who have something to do with the spread of terrorism. So it's difficult to find the solution with them. And this is what the Sahel states never stop denouncing.
Hello.
New World. I think that the Sahel states will overcome terrorism. It's long, it's painful, but they will overcome it. Because in reality, terrorism doesn't come from nowhere. If it were only a real terrorism with things, it would have been settled long ago. And if it were only the imperialists sending us terrorists, that too would be settled. It's their local lackeys who serve as relays for the terrorists who cause problems on the ground. But I know that these local lackeys will end up being such victims of terrorism that they themselves one day will go to Canossa, to the AES, to say, listen, we understand, let's join together to end this misfortune. That's all.
Hello, New World Forum. The presidency of the Alliance of Sahel States by Captain Ibrahim Traoré is not symbolic. It is dynamic in the sense that he imparts an offensive rhythm to the organization with direct communication and an assumed posture on sovereignty. This energy gives more visibility and coherence to the AES, which now appears as a bloc determined to weigh in on the regional, continental, and global debate. In summary, his presidency gives the AES a more combative and assertive image. Good luck to the AES and Akpaki Ayeda Anani, who writes to us from Sokode in Togo. Good morning to our Sunday Mass family. May the Almighty protect you and protect the AES. I really feel for the Ivory Coast. The people are crying because they have no water in the middle of Lent. Cocoa farmers are crying over the poor cocoa prices being forced on them, even though before they had benefited from high prices during the presidential campaign. And after the new president got himself elected all alone, he brought back those poverty prices for the people. In conclusion, we, the people of the AES, do not envy the ECOWAS countries, but it hurts to see leaders imposing unlivable conditions on their people, because 70% of the ECOWAS people are with us in heart in the Alliance of Sahel States. Mr. Zul from Port Gentil in Gabon, you are being heard in Gabon as well.
As a rule, we do not interfere in the internal politics of other countries. So the lack of water, cocoa, falling prices, well, that's an issue of Ivorian internal policy. We have absolutely no right to get involved in that. There you go. We only talk about it when they open their country to harbor terrorists against the Sahel states. It is only in that specific case that we speak about those countries. Otherwise, internal politics is not our problem.
Right.
The caller said that indeed, the ECOWAS populations truly and wholeheartedly support the ongoing struggle that is currently taking place. They stand in solidarity and support the AES peoples for their efforts and their cause.
Yes, absolutely. That is true. We know it.
That is true. We know it. There have been several studies and surveys that have revealed this. So indeed, many citizens, the vast majority of ECOWAS citizens, are with the AES people in this fight.
But of course, there is no doubt about that. We have known it from the beginning.
Exactly.
You just have to go to the market here. Listen to everyone, you know? No need to go far, you know. Just listen to everyone, you will see.
Good morning, New World. Good morning to you, Mr. Moderator, and to your distinguished guests. If I have one thing to say, it is to recognize that through this Pan-African channel, African youth have access to information and therefore have their eyes open to the entire world. May the gods of our Africa protect you so that you may continue to enlighten us. This is Severin writing to us from Togo. Severin, also known as Adam Banya in Lomé.
Adam Banya is named Severin?
Yeah, well, Adam Banya, that means...
No, Adam Banya, I know an Adam Banya, he is even an El Hajj. So an El Hajj cannot be named Severin.
It must be a nickname then.
That is why I am surprised.
Good morning, New World. Good morning, Gillis. To your guests, 2,000 ECOWAS soldiers, what use are they in the ECOWAS region when insecurity is permanent? For over 10 years now, I recall the attack on Djibo in Burkina, which involved more than 3,000 terrorists, not counting Boko Haram. My question is, what does ECOWAS want? This is Soumana Silla, a citizen of the AES from Congo-Brazzaville. A message from Europe now, from France or Belgium. Mbote Gilles, as well as the whole New World TV team. We don't have what we want. The baobab who doesn't budge, always at his post. It's the great Didier, of course, right on time. In Africa, only the AES is truly at work and impresses us with the structure of its organization, the implementation of new skills, and a clear determination to build differently. Meanwhile, with others, one sometimes gets the impression that the program boils down to a sad trio: very democratic elections, embezzlement, and repression. It is, however, lamentable to see the rest of the states, especially those living in peace, dragging their feet when they should be at one with their people and implement a real roadmap for endogenous, solid, and ambitious development. We are no less intelligent than the others.
But of course, when you look at the elections that have taken place recently in some ECOWAS countries and others being prepared, it's simply unfortunate, and there are reasons to be sad. They aren't really the elections that the citizens wanted.
In any case, in ECOWAS today, if there's an election, I'm talking about an election, not the nomination project prepared for the signature of you-know-who. If there's an election and a candidate claims to be from the AES, that candidate, even if he's a toad, wins the election. There you go.
Hello, Jill, Elka, and my father, Adores Kaka. The outfits are magnificent with the two hats, but you have to pay a fine to my father. You're the one wearing the hats every time now. I'm going to investigate the prices of my father's hats. I promise you that on Sunday, he'll have his hat.
No, it's just that my head has rather unusual measurements. So if you really want to find a hat, you have to get up early in the morning.
We'll have some custom made just for us. In a little while, they'll be ready.
Especially.
We could expand it with heat, right? Or else you find some elastic hats.
Oversized hats.
It's just your friendly greeting, Bona Giornata, ciao, wishing you a wonderful day. This is Sheikh Sangare speaking, a Malian originally from Italy.
Ah, okay.
A message from Niger now. Hello, Jill. Good evening to the guests this Sunday, March 1st, 2026, which is no coincidence. In my opinion, March is the month of war, according to a certain belief. I think that for the second year of the AES must intensify its preparation for high-intensity frontal warfare against the imperialist West, which will undoubtedly not give in without playing its last card, which is to return with its army to reconquer Africa. We must be ready to welcome them. I repeat, we must be ready to welcome them. This is Ibrahim Ali Rabo from Gaya in Niger.
In the Dendi region.
The 223 sent us a long message. Hello to the panel, our respects to your TV station for your struggle. Greetings to the Baobab, the ambassador. And to you, Gilles. And to Didier, I am very impressed. Oh yes, it seems I've already read it. This message. Yes, I read it.
Yes, he sent it several times.
Oh no, maybe he sent it. He's asking for the New World Decoder in Mali. Well, we have a local office. Okay, I got the message. Hello to the panel. In the West, they copy and paste from each other in infrastructure, services, industry, and so on. And you find the same standards from Italy to Belgium, from Austria to Switzerland. I recently returned from Rwanda, and an agent explained to me that Rwandans replicate at home what they saw in Europe. The AES countries must copy each other in all fields. Fraternal greetings from Germany. This is Akleso Antoine Baluki, and Akleso in Germany. Moving on now, another message. Hi Gilles, hi to the panel. It seems our dear senior ambassador's head doesn't suit hats. Regarding today's topic. In 1985, Edem Kodjo, the former Secretary General of the UN, no, the OAU, rest in peace, wrote a very great book titled And Tomorrow Africa. I bet this book greatly inspires the AES leaders. I would have liked to recommend it to all African youth. Have a good show. This is Maglibe Machatom from Sandafo.
No, African youth don't like to read. It's a tragedy, it must be said, you know. It's a real tragedy. Africans don't like to read. Young people even less so. Today, with WhatsApp, TikTok, and all that, people can't sit down and read 3, 4, or 5 pages at a time in a book. We don't like to read. It's a real tragedy.
And that's what led someone to even say that to hide something from an African, you have to put it in a book. Because we're almost certain they won't read it.
Oh yes, but if you actually can't read, there are audiobooks now, right?
Yes, but even then, when young people are on the internet, you know very well what interests them.
In the book, do they show women's butts in the book? If there are women's butts, women's breasts, well, you can see them. That we have to say it. We're defending causes. We must have the honesty to also point out the things that hold us back.
The flaws.
We must point them out.
His Excellency with his butt theory.
Yes, the butt theory, unfortunately, it's what rules the world. That Epstein guy. Was it His Excellency who went and put the butt theory at Epstein's? And yet, look who's there. Even Royal Highnesses are caught in the trap. Even Presidential Highnesses are caught in the trap. Was I there?
Even princes.
But that's what I call Royal Highnesses.
Right, so they're caught in,
So that's to tell you that what I'm saying isn't just about young Africans. There are even old perverts. There are old perverts. I'm not naming them here. If everything that was shown there, look at them all. They're celebrities, old men who go and let loose on babies.
A phenomenon had...
Not even children, babies.
A phenomenon that has had ramifications as far as Africa.
But when it comes to vice and sex, you can't bypass Africa.
Good old Sogoyu.
Kagwewe, you can't bypass Africa.
It has to change.
Hello to the panel of champions, Dr. Gilles, Papa Ambassador, and your co-debater. Do everything possible to ask all the presidents, all the ministers, in short, all the leaders of the AES, to do everything possible to follow New World Forum. Second recommendation, to do everything possible to increase the purchasing power of civil servants while focusing on social works. This is Josue Tas in Barkwasi, it's in northern Togo. Thank you all, thank you very much.
No, in general, I know that in the Sahel countries, many people follow. New World Television, they follow our show. It's true, you're not going to ask a head of state to sit in front of the TV on Sunday, but he has press services, information services, and if there's a point worth it, it's passed on to him. Otherwise, the ministers, the general directors, the officers, well, they listen with pleasure. And us too, when we get the feedback. Hearing this strengthens us, it encourages us.
This viewer, it's not today's topic, but he'd like your opinion on the strikes happening right now against Iran, which is retaliating against about 10 countries in the Middle East. In your view, he's asking what the next steps in this matter could be.
But it's only just beginning.
What's been happening in the Middle East since yesterday is sad, it's unfortunate. I see people who are already dancing because they see killing an old man as some kind of military feat. Well, normally we as Africans, we don't dance just because an old man was killed. There's no merit in killing an old man because you shouldn't shoot at coffins. We don't shoot at coffins. That said, it's war. Our intention isn't to say who's wrong or who's right. That's not the point. It's war. And I ask Africans to observe very closely what is happening in these countries. Iran was attacked. And it turns out that the attackers, that's to say the United States, have bases in countries neighboring Iran that they use to attack Iran. Can Africans learn lessons from this situation? To know that if you surround the AES with your military bases, at the first alert, you will be struck without mercy. We're saying it. I don't know why people don't want to listen. Iran didn't ask for the opinion of Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Qatar, or whatever. Before striking, it struck, that's all. Personally, it pained me to
hear that Dubai was hit. I don't know if there's a military base in Dubai. For me, it's the global city, the great international crossroads. It's unfortunate, but well, what do you expect? It's war. Exactly, it's not always rational, but it's war.
That's the problem with war. We know when it starts. We don't know what will be destroyed. And we don't know when it's going to end. So the best thing is to find arrangements and not go to war. But in the context where it's unfolding there, and for a long time we've heard the sound of boots and the sound of positioning in the oceans, but finally the United States and Israel have taken action. But I think that the fundamental question, which is that Iran gives up its program, its nuclear program there, and there's already a sense of déjà vu. All the countries that abandoned their nuclear program were hit afterwards. Remember Iraq.
Yes, do you understand this request? Because all the others have them, they have their nuclear program, they have their nuclear bomb. Now, they impose on others to give up their nuclear program. I don't understand the fairness of this request.
But that's the problem. I think once here, during one of my shows, I hammered it home. Africa must equip itself with this nuclear weapon because it's the only deterrent weapon that still works today. Because as long as you don't have it, the Americans and Westerners only respect countries that have nuclear weapons. As long as you don't have that, they can come one morning, jump on you, and swallow you like a little fish. That's clear. And you saw when you take, and I was saying that when you take Iraq, which agreed to give up its nuclear program, you saw what followed. You take Gaddafi, you saw what followed. And you saw North Korea. No one bothers North Korea because North Korea has nuclear weapons. So the nuclear weapon today is the tool that we absolutely must acquire. So I call on African countries, and even if it's not all of them, those who can agree, get together to develop a nuclear program and acquire nuclear weapons. That's what will ultimately ensure their security. And that's what Iran understood, and Iran would not want to give up its nuclear enrichment program.
And how do you analyze the silence of Iran's allies for the moment? We don't hear much from them.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about
Russia.
China.
China, they don't need to make speeches. They gave Iran what it needs to be given to wage war. And if it doesn't work, they know what needs to be added. One should not believe at all that those countries are ready to abandon Iran. I don't believe it. With everything they've delivered, the Russians and the Chinese, what they've delivered to Iran. But if they let Iran fall, it's the enemies who will even go and pick up the ultra-modern weapons they delivered to Iran. So I believe everyone is exercising restraint. Putin has no interest in playing the warmonger, nor does Xi Jinping. They're showing restraint only if the others push things too far, but when it explodes, unfortunately, everyone will pay.
Yes, there is indeed this question that has surfaced online for a few days now since the war began. Because we must observe that the countries being attacked today by the United States in particular are countries allied with Russia. And so it's legitimate when people ask themselves the question, but why? The United States sets its sights on certain Russian allies while Russia doesn't react. But listen, every country has its own army. Every country organizes itself first to defend itself. So a country's defense relies mainly on the country's army primarily. Now there are defense agreements being signed, cooperation agreements being signed between states. But I think if we look closely, as I said, it's only just beginning. And we don't know very well the developments that this will take. For now, it's true. Russia has issued a statement calling for calm and denouncing the violation of the state of Iran. Now, we don't know. Maybe in the coming days, China and Russia will organize themselves. We'll see the course of action they'll take.
Hello to the panel. I'm impressed by the quality of your show's content and especially the determination, let's say, that you put into debating every day. I wish you all a very pleasant Sunday. My name is Ibrahim Umaru Bala, and I am from the city of Yaoundé, specifically in the Brikateri district, which is in Cameroon.
A listener in Cameroon, thanks to him.
Here's another message that we just received from Benin. I was just wondering, could I ask you what exactly is the general objective or main purpose of the AES, what exactly does he want to ask?
The general objective of the AES? Yes, he'll have to read up a bit, because we can't summarize that in 2 words on the set here. First, you have to follow the history, how the AES was born, why, how, and why. So, and the objective is to defend oneself. We organize, we come together to defend ourselves. Because these 3 countries were attacked and they were counting on their African brothers. To defend them, their African brothers betrayed them because they preferred to support the white people.
So they said to themselves, now that our own brothers have gone to find the white people to kill us, let's join together. And they join together, that's all. Gilles?
No, but the objective of the AES is exactly that, to escape the domination of imperialism and to take charge of our own development. And that's mainly it, and to ensure the security of the region. And I would like to remind our friend that for a long time, the three AES countries had as partners France and other Western countries, to stem the problem of terrorism, and that it didn't work. So from that moment on, the military took it upon themselves to do something, and they seized power. This didn't please ECOWAS, which became the instrument of imperialism against them. And it was from that moment that these countries withdrew from ECOWAS to form the AES. And that the AES is a new geographical grouping that has been created, and which aims to secure the region and ensure harmonious development.
Hello New World Forum, may God bless you for this great work of raising awareness. If we could have such a channel with such analysts, journalists in all African countries, I admit that we Africans would be aware of our fate. Greetings to the ambassador, this is Senyawo. Toso, I'm listening to you from Alawogbe, Ave Prefecture. It's in Togo.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, my name is Mark from Burkina Faso. I greet you, Gilles and His Excellency the Ambassador. I would like to ask the Ambassador a question. On our television, on Echoes from the Front, we chased terrorists all the way to the border of Ivory Coast. As soon as they entered on Ivorian territory, the terrorists opened fire on the soldiers. Did our soldiers have the right to strike back as well? It's a question.
His Excellency is not the Minister of War.
No, I cannot answer that question. But let's rely on common sense. And I believe that a country that allows terrorists to go there to taunt the soldiers of a country that asked for nothing, that is being attacked, the Burkinabe soldiers did nothing to the terrorists, but they were attacked. But I'm sure from the little I've heard lately, Ivory Coast itself in the north of the country is facing terrorism. My hope is that one day Ivory Coast and Burkina will join together to solve the problem. If it's true that it's terrorists who are infesting the north of Ivory Coast. But now, if they aren't terrorists, but rather mercenaries in disguise positioned there to attack Burkina Faso again, then that's a whole different story. Otherwise, if Ivory Coast is truly a victim of terrorism in its north, it's only natural that it reaches an agreement with neighboring countries to the north to fight the terrorists.
What also needs to be clarified is that everything depends on the agreements that exist between our countries, between two neighboring countries, meaning that when, take for example, within the AES countries, terrorists who are chased from one country and enter another AES country, the other forces have the right to pursue and fire upon them. So that is the direction we must move in, meaning a synergy, like the right to pursue, a very strong synergy that works, because as long as the terrorists are aware that there's a border that the others cannot cross, then that works in their favor. So we must manage to push this synergy of action to that very point.
Yes, the Malians went as far as Mauritania to catch a terrorist leader.
Exactly.
It will cause a stir, but I'm sure no other terrorist leader will run to Mauritania thinking they're safe in the shadows. It's
already far. We are now practically at the end of our forum. We're going to conclude. The AES is 2 years old. And you can already see that it's a child who will grow up with great promise.
Absolutely. It's a child who was born and received all the necessary vaccinations very early on in life, and is now being nourished with good, healthy, and nutritious mother's milk, and whose cognitive development is well assured, with every indication that their mental and intellectual abilities are progressing as expected. So I think we must continue to guide it, to nourish it. Nourishing it means remaining steadfast and staying the course, and the course is to keep consistently working to secure the region, working to harness internal resources for development, And I always strongly point out that it's been 60, 65, 70 years for some countries since we were told we were independent. But the result, especially in French-speaking countries, everyone has seen that it hasn't lived up to expectations. So it's a new experience that must be encouraged, maintained, and supported. The AES countries are fighting the battle that all of Africa should have fought. They must be congratulated and encouraged. Among the people, there is no doubt many Africans support this struggle. It's at the level of the leaders of certain ECOWAS countries, and even more broadly in Africa for the time being. It doesn't fit, but I think it's a long-term job. We must continue. One day, the result will be convincing.
They often say unity is strength. In this second year, don't you think it's time for the AES to maybe cast a wider net and integrate other territorial entities?
It will happen. Many countries are making eyes at the AES, but we must first properly establish the institutional foundation and define entry conditions. So, at this level, everything will happen at the right time, I have no doubt.
Excellency.
No, I believe the AES is 2 years old and it's a group that is more and more attractive both inside its borders and outside, because everyone, all the people dream of being AES and not being ECOWAS or some other thing. So they are going to attract more and more people to them. And if they set the course, namely ensuring peace, security, ensuring good management, fighting terrorism with, let's say, fighting corruption, with the same rage they fight terrorism, well then victory is theirs. All of Africa will become AES. All of French-speaking Africa, colonized, martyred, will become AES. And since on the other side they aren't ready to compromise, they continue to martyr countries, pushing them further in their intention to join the AES.
But what about the elections?
But I've always told you here, I won't change my mind. Elections are a farce.
No, poorly organized elections.
No, in French-speaking African countries, the election is a farce. If you know of just one that isn't a farce, tell me which one.
There have always been elections in these countries. What has that brought?
What have elections changed? Has it brought more freedom, more democracy, more economic development, more education, more hospitals? What have elections brought? What does it bring? I don't want to name countries.
But one way or another, we'll have to find a way to transfer power.
Yes, we will find it. We are Africans, we are thinking about it. The Sahel countries are thinking about another way to take power and manage it. But let us be, even the Europeans who brought the famous democracy and the famous elections, have you seen what's happening elsewhere? People are leading their countries not based on election results, but based on villainous provisions, where they twist the neck of the National Assembly, twist the neck of the people, and yet they lead. Does democracy accept twisting the neck of the Assembly, twisting the neck of the people? Because meanwhile, in the Constitution, a phrase was slipped in there, and then it's manipulated like a club to knock out freedom? Is it written down somewhere? Why should we Africans follow those bad examples? But look at Europe, in Romania and elsewhere, elections are held and the people in Eastern Europe are naive, just like us Africans. They believed that there was something good in democracy, but they organized it. And for the one who was supposed to win, people went and said, no, he shouldn't win. It's the other one who should win. They've also realized, just like we have here, that democracy and elections are just a farce. There you go.
And we must congratulate North Korea for its brilliant election recently.
There was an election in North Korea?
Yes, of course.
So is it North Korean style elections that you want in the end?
Yes, at least there was order.
There was 135%. There you go.
How much?
135%.
Yes, that's proof that the order didn't come from elsewhere.
Exactly.
They handled it among themselves.
Right.
And how much is that? We're coming to the end of the forum. Where did that 135% come from?
Wrap up the show.
135% though.
He did well.
So we've reached the end of tonight's forum. Yes, thank you for watching, and thanks also to the technicians who worked with us, Emma and Gildas Yamadjako on production here, Didier Samon on social media, and Hervé Tatagan prepared the graphics and ensured the live broadcast on New World Info, Patrick Kayele on the radio. Thanks to our loyal viewers for your various contributions. We'll see you next week for a new edition. See you very soon.